I'm your host, Jahze Yvette, and this is Too Many Opinions. I'm sitting with my guests, Casey and Edwin Raymond, and this is I Just Beat My Bitch Up.
I need some makeup to fix this eye from the last time.
Oh, wait. How you get your black eyes?
You know, I got this girl, I'm in an abusive relationship.
Can you stop?
What?
Because you're talking about me, and you're not in an abusive relationship.
Oh, right.
What?
You know, she went through my phone, seen some hoes or whatnot, punched me in the face. But I did good, though. I didn't hit her back.
I don't know who you're talking about. Sound like I want to fight her.
You want to fight her?
Yeah.
I don't know, because she heavyweight champ right now. She undefeated. You think you can fuck with her?
If she beat up my nigga, the fuck?
Okay, so guys, I know, a lot of people are tired of talking about Blueface and Chrisean, but this is an era of violence. Why do you think that right now we're in this space where violence is entertainment?
Platforms like this. I think the consent, like now, I guess it's getting to a point where everybody's taking it really, really serious, because it's getting to the height of it.
Yeah.
But we seen it from the beginning. It was the jokes and everybody was laughing. It was funny, but this is their real lives. It's reality. It's not scripted. It's not. So I just think right now it's to the point where she needs help to get out fast.
But why are we in this space right now where, you know, these companies think that this is something that they could get paid off of and promote to these kids and just us? And actually as a consumer, we're really finding this entertainment because we are tuning in, we are liking, we are commenting.
Yeah, and that's where my opinion leans towards. There's an old saying in journalism: if it bleeds, it leads, because that's what people are going to pay attention to. It's going to get the analytics on the page. It's good for advertisement. It gets the likes. It gets the comments. Even if it's not likes, it gets comments. It's active in this world of social media. You're gonna get a lot of attention with that.
Engagement is what's driving social media. So if everybody's engaged, it's gonna keep going.
But I just go back off of what you said, that she needs help. Do you think that, like, you know, as far as these networks go, that they don't know that she needs help? I mean, clearly,
they do, but they're living off of it. They're thriving off of it. So they really don't care.
Families off of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, so let's talk about this real quick. When you find somebody like Blueface that's getting makeup put on his face as a male, how does that make you feel? Like seeing that, like, a female can actually hit you and you kind of got to brush it off. It's kind of one of those things.
I mean, obviously there's a double standard.
Right, it is.
And there's been social experiments done where in the middle of Manhattan it's actors, but it's a man, you know, being abusive towards a woman. People drop their bags, run, get involved.
Totally different energy.
And then they wait about half an hour and they flip it, and people laugh.
Yeah.
You know, people laugh, and it's like a completely different perspective, and when the roles are reversed. I mean, as a man personally, it's like I've never really experienced that, but I know I work in law enforcement, so I've been in a situation where that's been the case. And yeah, it's real. It's something that we do need to speak more about in our society.
So why do y'all think that, though, like when a female hits a male, it's not that big of a deal? Because clearly this man has a black eye. And
I don't think that. It is a big deal because it's going to lead to him ending up hitting her back, and it's going to be worse.
Yeah. I mean, that's what he kind of said. He's like, I didn't hit you back, but
I think the perception is, you're a man, you could take it. You know, it's just a woman. Like, you know, women don't hit hard, etc. You're a man, you could take it.
You could take it.
Yeah.
Do you think that if, you know, a man is considered weak if he calls it abuse, or, like, you know, in that sense? Because you're saying it
is definitely taboo. That'll be stigmatized, because it's like, you're a man. You know? As a woman, what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I want to go to my first opinionator, the_gangster1. She says, this goes to show that women are highly favored than men. I can't imagine if a man that did this or said this, oh my, well, what do I know? The gangster one, can you speak on that for me?
I feel like everybody is stuck on toxic, the word toxic. And they feel like if I'm toxic and the people want to see it, let's do it. I was raised as, like, you shouldn't hit a man shouldn't hit a woman. But if you hit a man, you need to expect him to hit you back. Raising sons and a daughter, I teach my sons that as well. Like, don't hit women. That's not what you're supposed to do. But if she continuously is abusing you, get her up off you. Not saying fight her like you would fight a man on the street. Not even saying fight her, but get her up off of you. I don't know. And I feel like, as far as women, they feel like it's okay because it is a woman. I don't think it's okay. Nobody shouldn't put their hands on anybody. Keep your hands to yourself, no matter what your sex is.
Yeah. Yeah. So, hearing her say that, like, do you agree? Do you feel like no one should put their hands on each other? I mean, because we do put ourselves in situations where people do get angry, right? And people's reactions, even as a female, my reaction, I'm not saying that I go hit men. What about if my reaction is I hit you?
I mean, I agree with her.
Do I deserve to get hit back, like she said, or?
Nah, I'm not gonna go that far. I mean, to a
Okay.
certain extent, obviously, if because weapons are real. Like
Right.
just yesterday, a woman stabbed a man in the train, her husband in the train station.
Wow.
You understand? So, but ideally, everybody should keep their hands to themselves.
Keep their hands to
Yeah.
themselves. So, guys, I want to go to this next clip. Actually, it's a tweet that Chris Brown wrote. He said, "If y'all still hate me for a mistake I made at 17 years old, please kiss my whole entire ass. I'm fucking 33. I'm so tired of y'all running with this narrative. Your weird ass are the same ones that tune in every week to see Blueface and Krishan beat the fuck out of each other in front of the world. But that's okay. It's entertainment. All y'all can suck my..." Disrespectfully. I didn't want to say all the words, but y'all.
I agree.
So you agree with Chris Brown?
I sure do. Because Chris Brown is not in the light that he needs to be and that he deserves to be as far as his creative art, because of that. And he was 17 years old. You make mistakes. There are mistakes you make in your life and you're forgiven for them. But for some reason, he has not been forgiven. And it seems like
That's because of who he hit, though.
True. And let's do the double standard thing. Everybody I know that we've talked about that situation would say in their brain, like, I'm pretty sure there was something that antagonized something like that. Like they were both fighting. Like it wasn't just him beating on her.
Right.
And my opinion
Yeah.
is I kind of believe that with, like I'm not innocent in relationships, like if I feel aggressive, you calm yourself down or
Right.
whatever the case may be. So I so hardly agree with him. And now everybody's just brushing this off the shoulder. Like this is entertainment right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I feel him. I feel his pain.
What about you?
And I agree. He was young. He made a mistake. There hasn't been a pattern, at least from what we know. And a few years later, I remember almost every day at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, they both Rihanna and Chris Brown were meeting up at the Nets games. So they even put it behind them.
Yeah.
I think they even started dating again.
Yeah, they
They sure did.
Yeah, and this is a good gap, again, at least from what we know, there wasn't a continued pattern. So if even the victim of the situation can move beyond it and it hasn't continued, then what are we doing?
I hear both of y'all, but from what I know, Chris Brown hasn't stopped. I think Karrueche has a restraining order against him. I also think that the new mother of his baby mother, there was reports that he beats her. So, I go back to saying, when someone hits someone, does it ever stop? Is that something that's
See,
always in you?
Yeah, I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now,
Right.
let's be clear. Restraining orders are not always for physical violence. Sometimes it's for stalking.
Mhm.
You understand? So, but I look into that. I didn't know that this was something that continued.
But let me ask you this. Do you believe that if someone hits somebody once, it can't happen again, or it can? Because
Not to
I hear
say
you
it can't.
saying at 17 years old, why can't we forgive them? But if it's in them,
Yeah, no,
17
if it is
versus 27, they gonna hit.
That's the truth. It could be a pattern.
Yeah.
Once you see it's a pattern, of course, it's not going to stop until this person needs help.
Mhm.
But just like we all are human, and there are stages in our lives where we develop and we grow.
Right.
So I wouldn't say that, just because you did something one time, you're going to continuously do it again and again and again. Sometimes you realize at that moment after you've done something so horrible that you will probably never do that again because of how you felt.
Yeah.
So I do say, patterns
Mhm.
definitely tell you who someone is.
Mhm.
But if it's not a pattern and it's something that you've done once, maybe even done twice, and then realize that this is really not me and grow as a person, you can change.
Well, I want to go to my next opinionator. the Queen Chimo. I keep saying your name wrong. I'm so sorry. But she said, I'm not going to lie. I agree and understand his frustration. Now that we know more of the story, Rihanna was also beating on him that night. But people don't recognize that. She beat him with her high heel while he was driving. I think he owned up to his mistake back then. It happened when he was 17. He's about to be 34. This is literally half of his life. We definitely excuse a lot of other bullshit in today's time. If anything, I'm more mad at Chris Brown being a colorist, but let's just be real. I don't think he should be crucified for making a mistake as a teenager. I'm not defending his actions of being a woman beater, but just saying that it's excessive to hold it against him 17 years later. I'm sure I'll be dragged for saying this, but it is what it is. Why you gonna get dragged, sis? Talk to me.
First, I want to thank y'all for having me on the show. But to answer your question, people like to say that, you're defending a woman beater, or as a woman, you shouldn't be taken up for a man who puts their hands on a woman. And that obviously isn't my intention. However, just to clarify, I went back and I looked, and he was actually 19 at the time, still a teenager nonetheless. But I do feel that it's not really fair to hold something against somebody when they did something at that age and that stage of their life. Now, like you said, I do agree that being that he is a repeat offender into his adulthood, that is something to highlight and definitely consider, because there is more to the story after that. However, just like your other co-host has said, after that situation, him and Rihanna did rekindle. And also another one of your co-hosts said that there was something that aggravated that situation. So I looked into his documentary, and he talked about the situation, and he definitely said it wasn't just I put my hands on her. There was, a situation that led to that. And I think if both of those individuals can move past it, then society can also do that, because like you guys said, what we see right now with Blueface and Krishan almost seems like comedy, or like just something that we watch as a TV show. And it looks like people are more mad at something that happened in 2009 versus what is happening right in front of our face today.
Yeah. And I go back to saying, is this the violent era? Are we in a space right now where, violence and trauma is actually entertaining people? Because it's just.
But obviously it's not, because we still looking at him in a certain light from that one situation. Because like you just mentioned, the other two situations, it's unheard of. We're not, it's that certain situation. So for me, it's the person.
Yeah.
It's not the situation.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, what's your thoughts about what she said just now?
I mean, I agree, but we've always been a violent society in my eyes. This is.
Well, we highlighting it now. I think that's what I'm.
Right.
It's
okay.
Yeah, like we're watching it.
It's normal.
These executives getting paid off of it.
People
the consumers
are more
loving it.
desensitized.
Yeah.
And it's somehow they've turned it into money.
And it's literally every day.
Let me ask you this as a police officer. When you guys see stuff like this on TV, there's a difference when you put a video out or you have footage that goes out and then, okay, the police picks it up. But when you physically see these entertainment companies and they're like promoting violence and you see people hurting each other, is that something y'all just don't get involved in? Or how does that work?
Well, somebody has to make an official complaint. You understand? Especially
even if you see it yourself as a
no.
officer?
If you see if you're driving around and you see it, then that's called a pickup, like a pickup job. You can take action. But when it's from the internet, you don't even know. You don't know how real it is.
Real as not. Wow.
There's literally people who create content in public. On the train. You've seen them.
Yeah.
I don't know if I shot them out. They do it for the, just to
the
startle.
Likes in the comments.
Yeah, to startle the public. So how do you know which one is which? You know what I mean?
I do want to play this next clip. This one does touch on domestic violence. I don't know if you are familiar with Kristen Evans and Zach Stacy, but I'm going to let you first hear her impact statement, and then we'll talk about what happened.
Before all of this happened to me and I released these videos, I really had no idea how the world worked. I was in an extremely vulnerable time in my life. The police were not arresting my abuser. He showed no signs of remorse, and he ran to another state. So I released the videos so that he would get arrested. I advocated for domestic violence victims because I'm a survivor, and not a lot of people understand that difficulty that we go through in balancing the safety for ourselves and what's right for our children. This is not some man that just walked up off the street and did this to me. I have to speak to this man and exchange a child and co-parent with this man for the rest of my life. And thankfully, because the law didn't offer much protection, he decided to change. So through cognitive behavioral therapy, he was able to make a significant adjustment in his behavior and communication. And over the last 6 months, he's consistently shown an improvement, as well as our son enjoying spending time with him. My concern was our son and what kind of psychological effect it would have on him having his father gone for 6 months or more. I'm an advocate for mental health, and I will continue to be an advocate for mental health, because once you deal with your trauma and learn proper coping skills, you can change.
Guys, so first of all, this was very deep for me. One, there's a lot of points to be pulled out of this just one clip alone. But the first thing I wanted to hit on was her actually seemed like she's like standing up for him as a DV survivor. What are y'all thoughts on that? Do you find have you known people that are DV survivors? Do you find a lot of women do this? Because he said it's only been 6 months.
I was just
so
gonna say,
6 months
it's
to
so
me
soon
is exactly
to feel like someone has changed.
And
Like,
again, let me go back. I don't know if you guys saw the video, but he actually took her and slammed her in front of her son several times. And it took for her to put the video out for him to even get arrested.
mhm.
So I do want to put that.
I
that
I
came out.
remember it.
Yeah.
And I definitely think it's way too soon for her to think that he has changed. They probably haven't even gone into a scenario that close
Mm-hmm.
to what they probably went through for him to lose it and do that to her.
Yeah.
So I'm like I said, I'm not saying that he can't change. Maybe him getting all of this light and people speaking to him, maybe therapy and things of that nature, it has changed him to a certain extent. But 6 months is way too soon. 6 months.
And
you
6
blink
months
your
because you're
eyes,
going to
6 months.
jail. Like if
Right.
you're going to jail, you're going to act right. You know what I
right.
mean?
Exactly.
I have a question for you. When you hear a woman like this sit on the computer and say it took for her to physically put the film out for police to actually make a move on him, why is that? Why is it that as women we have to physically almost get murdered before people or the police to respond to us?
Yeah, honestly, that it's based on when I saw the video, it was
Yeah.
very disturbing.
Very.
And if she articulated exactly what happened in that video, I can't understand why any law enforcement agency wouldn't affect the arrest. That wouldn't even make sense. So I don't know what state they were in. I don't know how it is in that space. Maybe because of his celebrity status. I don't know. Maybe there's something else playing because that video was crazy. And I never saw this. It's crazy too.
So even if you have bruises on you and black
Yeah,
eyes,
once that happens, arrest is going to be made.
yeah.
At least in New York.
Yeah.
Once you can
So-
see it, yeah,
Once
and you report it.
But that's what she's saying. She physically had to put the video out for
Yeah.
anybody to believe her. I think like that to me is cringing. Because how many times has she been beaten before that where she didn't have video and then she went to tell somebody and it wasn't the case? Do you think she has something maybe like a Stockholm syndrome? I think I'm saying that right, where she's just not seeing. Because even in the one clip, she said, he's doing better for his son. That's all that matters. It's like, do you not care about your own life?
Right.
I mean,
So-
are they back together though?
I have no idea, but it seems like he's very much still involved in her life, the way that she put it in that video.
I mean, if they're still romantically together, 6 months is too soon.
Yeah.
But if they're not together, but as she said, the co-parenting is the focus. I mean, 6 months again. It's not to say that the mission accomplished, but
Yeah.
continue to observe and see if there's real progress.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So when you hear women like this, especially DV survivors, what is your hopes for them? Hearing a woman like that speak, because it's not just her. Like I said, we got Krishan, we got Blueface, men and women. I think a lot of times they're stuck in this space of Stockholm syndrome where they don't think nothing's wrong with what's happening. A lot of people actually get turned on sometimes
I was just
by
gonna
people
say-
hitting them and the
That's
toxicity of things.
I feel like if you feel the need to have to put your hands on someone already emotionally,
Yeah.
you guys are on a disconnect.
Yeah.
Because communication right now is so enticing to me. I love it, and that's what it attracts me
Right.
at this point. So you communicate with me to a certain point where we can understand each other. That's what I want. Where you want to get aggressive, I don't want to get there. I don't want to do that. So that's just.
I've
that's where
heard
it's at
people
for me.
actually say, like, I want that Blueface and Krishan love. Like, it's so
don't love
toxic. It's
theyself.
so it's so toxic, and they're so into each other. It's like they want to
They don't love themselves.
They
There's
into
no
each
way
other's
you want somebody
skin.
to put their hands on you. Why
Yeah.
would you want somebody to
Yeah,
ruin
it's
your nice,
crazy.
beautiful skin? And like, why?
But I mean, I've heard, not to that point, but I've heard women say it's their way to feel that that's a masculine man. You know what I'm saying? He gonna put me in my place, like physically.
Yeah.
So I've heard that. It's a
You've
little,
heard it all,
I'm
right?
not
With
trying to
that.
kink shame, but
I was gonna
it's
say, I believe
something.
you.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, I've never ever been put in a situation where a man has physically put their hands on me, outside of one time, and I think the one time he choked me real good, and
that was it,
And that
right?
was it. I saw the light. I was like, oh yeah, Lord, I'm out of here. Boop, out, bye. I don't see how somebody could repeatedly be beaten on, but I've known people to stay in situations, and a big reason is because they need the person.
I was gonna say their happiness lies within them.
Yeah.
And that's the thing.
Yeah.
I see a lot of relationships that their happiness is so tied into this person, whether it be through kids, whether it be through a house, whether it be through all the things that we think materialistically and like we see on the internet and everything else that we really want. It's like you're tied in and you can never leave.
Yeah.
It's nothing that great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nothing.
And I always say this too, for us as a society to even find this to be entertaining, it shows what our mental state is as well.
I'm sick of it, to be honest with you. Like I scroll now. Now it's like somebody help her if she really wants her finances and her professionalism and everything put together, her business.
Yeah.
Entertainment attorney help her. But if she really doesn't want to leave her alone. There's
Gotta
nothing
leave
else
her
she can
alone.
do.
How do you feel about just being in this space right now as a police officer and knowing that you're in an era of violence?
I mean, yeah, so it's uncomfortable.
It's uncomfortable. Yeah, because it makes you like, you want to go help and rescue everybody,
Right.
but then at the same time, it's like they find this to be so entertaining. It's like, what do you say on that,
Yeah, and it's funny. I was something that happens often in law enforcement. We get called to a job, domestic intimate partner violence. We effect the arrest, and the same woman that was just saying he did XYZ brings him the sandwich for lunch.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Or they stop cooperating with the prosecutor, and charges get dropped.
Yeah.
There's times where they even turn on the cops.
Mm.
It's like, wait, no, but you said he did X. One time, one woman was like, I just wanted the nigga out of here. I didn't expect y'all to do all that. I just want him to leave my house. I was like, yeah, but you said he took your chain, he did this, he broke that.
They want to escort.
He has to be arrested at this point.
Yeah. So again, how do we change this narrative? Not just you personally, but as a whole, as a community, as a society, how do we change this era?
I mean, platform like this, we have that first start with the discussion.
Conversation.
Yeah. And a lot of parents, sometimes they want to shield their young folks, their children from certain things, but you'd be surprised how much they can learn early. Might have to start younger than you probably comfortable with. I would say middle school age is this is the time to start having those conversations.
I mean, like the gangster one said, she was like, I have these conversations with my son, like, don't put your hand on no girl, but at the same time, somebody hitting you, protect yourself. So I do think that, those conversations definitely need to happen.
Back again, it's communication.
Yeah.
When you start teaching your children and the people around you how to communicate more and not being offended by somebody communicating and how they feel, those are safe spaces. Once you start putting yourself in safe spaces and putting other people in safe spaces of communication, that's a huge start because you don't feel like you have to get physical for someone to understand you.
Yeah. Do you think it's going to end this era soon? Or is it going to
We
get worse?
continue to do things like this.
Yeah.
I think more than just making it look like it's okay, because posting it like this and with the comments,
They making it look normal.
Yeah, the comments heighten it. Just
Oh my.
a post is a post, but I've even said it before. The comments that throw you over the edge. So I think those safe spaces to communicate is the start. Now is the era of social media and everything else. So it's okay. We're seeing it a lot more. When you heard about it before, it's like you've seen a video, you've seen it on the news. You didn't see it in places where it was just desensitized.
Yeah.
Now everything, even from killings and blood, and it's so desensitized.
Oh
on
my
social media.
God.
So this era is like, it's like nothing to them. It's normal. So it definitely is an age thing.
And it definitely go back to what you're saying. Like, it's like we've seen so many people bodies on the cell phones. We just seen so much violence. That's why I said the violent era, that we're just so numb to it, and it's nothing. It's really truly nothing. And to find it so entertaining to the point where like This is the first thing we watch when we wake up in the morning. I go on my phone, I see
Look at the
Krishan.
difference.
Right.
The only time we seen that it was in the news.
In
Like
the
it was just like
news.
Chris Brown did what? We
Yep.
were all like,
Yeah,
now-
the situations were presented differently. What, like you said, in the morning, it's almost coming off as entertainment. Whereas one day we just saw a picture of Rihanna's battered face, and it
and
hits you
everybody
like,
had the same opinion. That's the thing. Everybody had he's the devil for this. Like
Yeah.
he is a monster. And now you have two sides. Now it's, there's a Blueface side, there's a Krishan side, and then there's people that are like, well, it's both of them. They're both like toxic.
Yep.
So,
and I do agree. I think there's a lot of times where it's not just one person being toxic. Both parties have to be toxic.
you
Even if
keep
one
going
not
back
putting their
and
hand, it's
continuing,
all toxic at the
yeah.
end of the day.
mhm.
So yeah. Yep. It's the era of violence, and hopefully it ends soon. That's the goal. Let's just be real. It's society and the consumer's part of engaging in supporting such content that we don't see anything wrong with a man or woman close fist punching each other in the midst of rage. It's also the fault of these networks and executives that feed their children with the same money that they use for the destruction of society and communities. I also fault the blogs and social media platforms that rather engagement and likes by displaying the violence between two people that's supposed to love each other. We got to stop thinking that this shit is entertainment. We have to stop supporting this content that has led so many women and men to death. Domestic violence is serious, and I hope all women and men in this situation that's toxic, abusive, and dangerous seek help and know that it's not normal. Being hit, talked to disrespectful, and treated like shit is not normal. The question I have for you is, why do we want this to be so normal? To DV survivors, I'm sorry that we're in an era where violent relationships are accepted and you have to be reminded of how much pain you've been through. Forgive, but never forget, and move on. I promise you, your person is out there and they will die before they hurt you physically, mentally, and emotionally. You are beautiful. You are worthy. And it's okay to be in a normal, healthy relationship. I want to thank my opinionators and also my guests, Edwin and Casey. Can y'all drop y'all social media so everybody can find you?
My Instagram is Casey's Empire.
Me, it's Edwin Raymond, E.Raymond _.
Each and every one of you has an opinion and it matters. Or maybe it doesn't. I pray regardless that this conversation opens you up to just more than your opinion. I'm Jahze Yvette, and I'll see you next time on Too Many Opinions.